Hello, hello. Welcome to Las Vegas, Ms. Bekah Slider. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in Vegas.
Well, hopefully it's not too hot out here for you, but we're here to get to learn a little bit more about you and what you're about and everything you got going on.
Yeah.
So I see to start this off that you used to be a pastor.
Yes, indeed. I was a pastor for many years.
Okay. And how many years were you a pastor?
So, on staff, actually, as a paid pastor, about 5.
Okay.
But in ministry itself, like where you consider lay pastor and in some type of leadership role, more like 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now becoming into that spot, becoming a pastor, is there like some sort of curriculum that you had to follow to sit there and do that, or?
No, it depends on the church. It depends on the denomination. And so, like, even for me, it's funny because a lot of people will ask me, how are you a pastor? You're a female. Because from a lot of denominations' perspectives, that's not allowed. It's not acceptable. So my church, both the churches that I attended and was in any form of leadership role or pastor, were considered non-denominational. And so they're a bit more lax on that. They're a bit more liberal in that respect. And then it depends on your background and kind of like your knowing of the Word of God, the Bible, how long you've been a Christian, things like that, as far as your on-ramp to ministry. So some people do religious study degrees, seminary. I have a background in counseling a bit, so Christian counseling specifically. So I think that was the ease of the on-ramp, and I was also married to someone who was in ministry.
Okay. So were your parents at all pastors as well?
Yeah, my dad was a pastor for a period of time when I was a kid,
Okay.
and they always served in ministry. As far as I can remember, my entire life, they were in some form of leadership role, volunteering in ministry my entire childhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, all of a sudden, you decided to gradually make a change from being a pastor to empowering women and giving out workshops and helping them. How did that all come about?
So I've always been an entrepreneur, like an entrepreneurial spirit in regards to wanting to do my own thing. And that began while I was actually in ministry in the realm of like naturopathic medicine, looking for ways to help people understand more of a natural approach to their health. And I was excited about that, but it didn't really spark the fuel in me that I felt like I was making like a deep impact. Where when I would counsel people or coach people just for free as like a volunteer position, the encouragement factor always filled me. Just the fact that I could like possibly help someone transform their life even a teeny bit. And when I walked away from ministry, which that's a whole another thing, I actually got really into the coaching industry. I realized, oh my God, what is this like? There's life coaches, there's people who actually, and it's not therapy, it's like people who want to up-level certain areas of their life. I began getting coached, and once that happened, I said, oh shit, like it was kind of a light bulb moment that went off, and I realized this is what I do naturally, right? And I'm not necessarily as skilled as some of these people who've been in the coaching industry for years, but I have a natural gift for like calling out the golden people, but also seeing the why behind the why behind the why to get to the root cause of what's actually going on with them and what's keeping them stuck. And that light bulb moment was like, this is what I want to do. This feels like me. This feels like something that not only I'm naturally gifted at, but that I could actually do really well and help make a difference in people's lives.
So how long did it take you to transition out from the ministry to doing the empowerment and coaching?
That's a great question. 2018 was the last year I preached.
Okay.
And then in 2019, that was the year that I ended up stepping down away from like not just ministry, but like church as a whole. And I tried a few other churches just to see. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. There was a lot of wrestling within me where I had started giving myself permission to ask really hard questions about what I believed and why I believed it. And was it actually true to me? Or did I believe it because these are things that I've been programmed and conditioned into believing for so long? They were a part of my identity I didn't know how to detach from. And in 2019 into 2020 was when I really, what you could call like a full deconstruction of my faith. It was very lonely. It was very painful. When your identity is wrapped around seeing yourself in the world a certain way, and you're willing to ask questions and you start getting to conclusions that this isn't supportive. Not only is it not something I believe anymore, but you actually take off the mask of what you thought was based in love and you see that it was based in fear.
Mm-hmm.
It wrecked me. I mean, it wrecked me at a soul level. But also, you can't unsee what you've seen, right? So it gets you to this place where you're like, I can't go back. I can't go back to it. And so it was during that time, again, I was getting coached to that point, not in regards to religious stuff, just personal development. And that's when I started making the on-ramp. So it probably would have been between a 1 to 2 year period of time
Okay.
from pastoring all the way into coaching.
Okay. So when you're doing your coaching, are you dealing with mostly women, men, or you do both, or is most of your clientele females?
Yeah, I do offer coaching to both. However, I'm very strongly vet people, all people. When it comes to my marketing, I market toward women.
Okay.
So if I have men that are clients, they typically have reached out to me, not so much because my marketing speaks to them, but maybe they've gotten to know me or word of mouth, and they're like, actually, the things you coach to or something like I'm trying to work on in my life. Whether that's, so more recently, I had someone who, he grew up in the church. He also had all of this like sexual shame because, again, purity culture. If you grew up in the church, you know this shit well, right? Purity culture. And you feel like when you come out of that, he's like in his 30s, he's like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I gave so many years of my life away to being afraid and being suppressed and feeling like I couldn't do this, or it was bad to do this, or I feel ashamed about this. And now that I'm at the point where I don't believe any of that stuff, I don't believe it, but I also don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to get out of this. Like, I'm just fucking angry that I wasted years of my life. And like, how do I act now with women and all that stuff? So he really wanted coaching more around the core of his identity and his worth and his value, but also leaning into his sexual expression and like not letting that be wrong anymore. It's one thing to say, I don't believe these beliefs anymore, right? Like the shame around you should feel bad that you want to have sex outside of marriage, right? Okay, I don't believe that anymore. That's great. You can say you don't believe it anymore. But the reality is that there's a ripple effect subconsciously going on that's still going to impact. And you'll see the shame coming back and you're like, but I don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want. But you haven't actually really deconstructed and let yourself heal from it. So he and I kind of worked on that. So definitely I do work with men. Marketing, though, is always going to target women.
Okay. So I'm at the point where I'm trying to, like, I get like, we do Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. And there are a lot of people that always have like these memes, like, I'm the light in the darkness, or I'm the lion in the forest, and I'm this and I'm that, thinking that that's going to be a step for them to sit there to change their life and go in a different direction. Mm-hmm. And then yet sometimes it's still a year later, I keep seeing the same memes and stuff like that. What do you do to sit there and motivate them to actually want to do something different? Or is that somebody that you sit there and say, hey, when you're ready to actually make a transition change, let me know? Or do you sit there and provide motivation, be like, hey, come on, get up off your, and let's get this done,
Yeah, that's such a great question. As I said, I vet people really well, and the reason I vet them well is because it's a disservice to them, first and foremost, if they're not at a place that's truly ready for my coaching. They're just giving me money and it's going to go nowhere. They're going to end up in the same space 3 months, 6 months later. So the vetting process is figuring out they're at a place now where they're like, fuck no, I'm ready to make a change. I don't care what it takes. I'm ready to edge my comfort zone. I'm ready to sit in uncomfortable feelings. That's super important to be present with when you're wanting to heal, right? Most people run from it. And our primal brain teaches us that, like, run from uncomfortable feelings like it's a bear coming at you. That's a primal response. But people who are like, no, I'm committed to my own evolving, I ask them questions like, why? Why now? What does it mean to you? What if you don't change a year from now? What have you lost? Like, I really get down to the root of the motivation because I cannot actually motivate someone. I can only mirror to them what they actually want. Mm-hmm. That motivation, that deep, like, passion to change, to transform, to heal, it has to come from within them. And if it's not already there, it's not going to be a good fit for me to coach them.
Okay. So you getting done out of the Christian lifestyle, did that cause a rift between you and your family? And you said your husband was also a minister as well. Did that cause a rift between you two?
So not between me and my husband, who's now my ex-husband. We both walked away from the church around the same time. Now, I would say as far as deconstruction goes, where you're asking all these tough questions and you're like, do I believe this stuff anymore? He was probably about a year behind me in regards to his questioning and his walking away from that. And so he was scared for me. And that slowly shifted as he also was realizing, I don't actually think I believe this stuff anymore either. So I don't think that caused so much of a rift between us. When it comes to my extended extended family, like my parents, I was never super close to my parents to begin with, just because of the way I was raised and it just there wasn't a lot there relationally wise. But it's really interesting and actually sad to me. As I've walked away from the church and ministry, the connection with them that was in some form of an existence, it's gotten even less and less and less. And now even when they visit, there's no questioning what's going on in my life, what I'm doing, like, and that's like even separate from before I even got into OF. Like this is just like coaching stuff, nothing. And I don't know, I can make guesses as to why that is, but the reality is when people have a perception of what they want their children to be, how they want their children to show up and live in the world, and what they think will make their children safe and successful, and the children choose something else, and they're attached to their children doing that in order to feel good about themselves as parents, you're going to have a riff. Because they took their identity and your identity and they made it about themselves. Instead of like the way I parent my children is very much like, I want you to do you. I want you to know you. I want you to love you. I want you to find the wisdom within yourself to see what your soul came here for. And whatever that journey is, I support you. Right? So there's no like direct agenda of, I need you to act this way, believe these things in order to make me feel good. I don't have that. And I think a lot of parents do have that out of fear, which again, it's love, but it's fear-based. And so that's just kind of like, it's just faded out over time. And then I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
2 of them I wasn't close to for a long time. Nothing real super negative, but just wasn't close to. And then 2 I was. And the 2 that I was, once I deconstructed, my brother wrote me a 4-page letter about how I was going to hell and to turn back and all these things. And I confronted him. He actually owned it and apologized to me. And I was like, we're good. I just like, you made all these assumptions about where I'm at and said all these things and we were good. But then he stopped talking to me. He just kind of like, just stopped talking to me. And I'm not in an energy of wanting to chase people down in order to make myself feel okay, that they're comfortable with me. And also, there's going to be a group of people who are like, well, they're blood family. No matter what, you stay close to them. And it's like, I don't subscribe to that. I think your family is your family. You were raised with them. It's good things. But like if there's toxicity or there's unsupportiveness, like you need to choose wisely how much time, energy you're going to give to that. And then I had a sister. Actually, this was the hardest. This is like more fresh even still. So it's like still heartbreaking to me. One sister I was closest to the longest, and we were close our entire adult lives. She actually deconstructed as well.
Okay.
So she had walked away from it. She went through a really bad marriage, and I helped her. Like I was, and she would say this to you, like I was like her number one supporter through decades of her life. And last fall, I went into OF, and also like was already on the verge of getting divorced, and she just kind of started backing off talking to me, but she didn't ever say like, I have a problem with you or anything like that. But I just thought she's busy in life, I'm busy, whatever, but we talked every now and then. And then this past February, she wrote me an email, an entire thesis actually. She's a writer, so she's very good at writing, about how I was basically this horrible person and she wanted nothing to do with me anymore. She did not want to have a conversation. She was cutting me out of her life forever. And that was, to say it was a shock is kind of an understatement because I never saw it coming, nor would I have bet money. You talk about gambling, we're in Vegas, I would have bet against that happening anytime. And so it's been a lot of loss. And yet I wouldn't change it. I think that this is where people don't want to count the cost and they don't want the loss when it comes to being true to themselves. When it comes to stepping into deep authenticity to their own soul, they know that that means no longer self-abandoning to make other people feel good. And when you do that, they're not going to be happy about it. And there will 100% be loss. And I never try to act like there won't when I'm talking to people who want it. Okay.
So your parenting style, as you deconstructed and transitioned, did your parenting style also transition with your kids as to what you were teaching them or letting them, or what was being known or taught to them?
Yeah, to some degree. It's interesting because when I look back, and I think my kids would attest to this too, I was always a pretty liberal parent in the sense that I grew up with a strict home environment, very controlling, very Christian, conservative style, even of dress, like all of those things. And I never wanted that extreme for my kids, so it was much more liberal in that way. But what shifted was really it wasn't my willingness to talk about like sexual stuff or anything like that, because I was, even from age like 7 years old, I'm having the sex talk with my kids. I didn't mess around because it was the opposite of what I got. Everything was like, don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. And so I grew up knowing nothing, having to learn. I'm like, I'm not going to do that with my kids. My kids are going to learn, and I'd rather them come to me and feel safe coming to me, even if it means inside I'm like, I don't want to talk about this.
Cringe time.
I'm going to put a comfortable face on, because the most important thing is that they feel like they have a safe space to talk about things that are uncomfortable or taboo or whatever. So that was already created with my kids, which is beautiful. When it came to deconstructing and parenting styles, this is what it comes down to. My agenda for their lives shifted. I didn't have, because if you would have asked me as a pastor, what do you want the most for your kids? I would have told you, I want them to know and love Jesus. That's what I want. Okay. So it sounds great and holy and lovely. But the reality is, what I'm talking about there is a script to subscribe to Christianity and all the pillars that go with that too. It wasn't just about Jesus, right? So I have an agenda. And so as a parent then, my agenda is trying to drive them to that place with different things that I do and say and support them in that way. And people can think what they want about this phrase, but I am manipulating them to believe certain things because I feel they're true, and I feel like they should, in order for them to be safe and have a good life, they need to subscribe to those truths.
Okay.
So I deconstruct, and now it's like, oh shit, I don't actually believe this is true anymore. In fact, I actually think it's unsupportive. It's fear-based. What happened was actually an unshaming of me being afraid of like what if they do this and they act this way as a kid? What does it mean about me? And it was like, oh, it doesn't have to mean anything about me. They're going through their journey.
Yeah.
Right? They can make mistakes. They can choose what they want. Like, the biggest way to describe the difference is that I started trusting them. I started trusting them to forge their own path. It doesn't mean I was hands off and I didn't try to guide. In fact, if anything, what happened and what has happened since then is they actually come to me more often for advice or insight or wisdom, because they trust that I'm not going to try to drive them to a certain script of how I think they should live. I help point them back to themselves to make the best decision for them. Do you know what it's like to be, I don't know. So this is such a great question. Like, what is it like to be a kid whose parents are like, I trust you. I trust you to trust yourself. And you might need to take some quiet time to figure out what the best decision is for this, let's say this relationship or this job you're going to choose or whatever. But I believe you have that knowing inside you. I don't know, because I don't think a lot of kids are raised this way. I think we're taught like all authority, all the best decisions, they come from out here. So you better ask somebody else for the answers. You better ask God Almighty for the answers. You better ask a pastor or another adult. Like, all the answers are outside of you. So to be teaching your children, oh, actually I believe they're inside of you. And no matter what your age is, I actually believe that you can start, and again, I didn't have toddlers, so it's a little bit different when they're very young, but at this point, but like, teaching them to trust themselves, it builds their confidence. It builds their like stick-to-itiveness with like who they are, and that they can find the answers, even if it feels like a shit show in their life right now, that they're gonna continue to be able to come back home to themselves and know that they have wisdom to take them to the next step.
Okay. So when you had the decision to join OF, were the conversations with your daughter and your son different? Was it a different context when you told them about it, or how was that approach coming?
Yeah.
Or why did you decide to? Well, first I know why you decided to tell them, but how was it that you came about saying, "Hey, we need to have a talk"?
Well, I always knew if I was gonna. I considered OF for about 9 months to a year before I ever did it, and especially I think because if you have kids, I think it's really important you don't take that lightly. You don't just like I think it's important that you're making decisions that can affect them. That's why I say don't take it lightly. But I knew if I was going to go into OF, I was going to talk to them about it. It was not even a question in my mind. So Different a little bit, yes, in the sense that I have a 20-year-old daughter who her and I have very like frank, honest, open conversations about all sorts of things all the time. I think
Okay.
just women to women, it's just very easy to do that. And then my 18-year-old son, and then I have a 13-year-old daughter. And so with the daughters, it's like you have 13-year-old and a 20-year-old. You're not going to have the exact same conversations because you've got a 20-year-old adult woman, right? So that was more frank and more open and stuff. And she's already very liberal and very like similar things like empowering women. Women should be able to do what they want, whatever that looks like, with their bodies, with their expression, whatever. And so her and I kind of had some side conversations up to that point. So it wasn't so much a shock or even like a big deal when I told her. She was just like, hell yeah, go for it, Mom. With my son, he would not have known necessarily that I was considering that, but what he saw with his mom was a deconstruction and then me starting to dress more like sexy and just embrace myself. Like, I'm dancing more often. I go out and do Latin dancing. There was a shift in how I felt confident in myself, confident in the way I dressed. Like it was definitely a shift for sure. And so I think that in that regard, it wasn't as shocking as maybe an average kid would have, to just any mom saying that. But I just was radically honest. I just called him in to where I was sitting one day. I was like, hey, so I need you to pull up your Instagram account and we need to go through mutual followers and I need to have all your friends. I'm going to have them unfollow me. I'm going to like block them because I'm going to start an OnlyFans. And he said, okay. I said, that's it? Okay. He's like, yeah, I mean, you can do what you want. Like, kind of that idea of just like, if that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But I think he also trusts me that I'm of sound mind. And so it's not like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just gonna start getting naked on the internet. Like, it wasn't like that. It was a very, he knows I'm a very grounded person. Mm-hmm. I don't make like a bunch of crazy rash decisions all the time. So yes. I think he has that stability of trust with me. Now, has he always been happy about the decision? No, he, of all of my kids, has dealt with, friends, people who know him, finding out, right? Because it is my real name I use. It is something I occasionally post on my social medias, and they're public. So even if I get most the teenagers to unfollow, some of them do. Now, he's 18, so most of his friends are adults now. So to be fair, it's not the end of the world. But I never wanted him to have to deal with, dealing with discomfort of people saying shitty things to him. And so we had that conversation too. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, I want to kind of fast forward and preface, like, is it possible your friends are going to find out? Yeah, it's not like if, it's when. There's going to be somebody.
It's going to be the curiosity.
There's going to be somebody who finds out. And so I want to know, I would love to have conversations with you so you feel confident and you feel kind of secure in what your response will be so you're not blindsided by this and get all uncomfortable. And his response was, yeah, I know what I'll say. I'll just be like, why the fuck are you looking at my mom? Yeah. I was like, okay.
Because mom's going from mom to MILF mode now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you sat there and said that it took 9 to 12 months for you to get through to your decision to do OF. Mm-hmm. What were the thoughts pertaining to that? Because obviously, like you said, you used your real name. Yeah. A lot of people usually use a persona of some sort. Yeah. But it seemed like a lot of older ladies or more mature ladies are starting to just be like, you know what, this is me, this is who I am. I'm not going to hide behind some pseudonym, I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
So what was the process in your mind of what you had to sit there and ponder and think about?
Yeah, a lot of it is allowing all of the fear and shame that still existed within me around that to come up, to come to the surface, to be heard, to be witnessed, to be healed, because I don't want to go into something, and not to say that it's like completely fine and I've never had moments of discomfort since I started it, but there's still underlying fear, because it's one thing to be like, I'm not a Christian anymore. I don't believe in that having sex outside of marriage is wrong, or I don't believe homosexuality is wrong. It's one thing to say those things. It's a whole nother when you're like, and now I'm going to get naked on the internet. I'm going to let people see my pussy. Yeah. Right? That has a stigma culturally, societal wise. That,
Is it American culture or is it worldwide?
Oh, I think it's worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah. That is beyond just like, oh, I'm not going to subscribe to religious norms. Now I'm like, now I'm going in the face of all sorts of judgment, right? All sorts of judgment, all sorts of the stigma of you can't be a woman who is doing this type of thing and also be a person of influence, a person who's in leadership, a person who's well respected, and you have to remember at this point, I've already got a coaching, I'm coaching clients, I've got a coaching business, I'm a speaker, I care very much, and I had already started a podcast, not about sexuality. Sometimes it hit on that, but I care very much about being a person of depth and impact. At my core, if I could choose one thing to do, that would be it. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, oh, is all of this going to ruin my reputation? So just all the thoughts you could think of that would come up, it was like I wanted to let them come to the surface, to journal on them, to heal those parts of me that still felt shame and felt wrong about it. Because at the end of the day, I am only going to be triggered by someone judging me if I am judging myself in that same way. Okay. If I don't judge myself in that, it's just like it bounces right off of you. You're just like, well, you can think that, but like there's no shame here, so I don't feel bad about it, right? So I knew there were still places and parts of me that were like, oh God, like fearful of that. And so that's what a lot of the 9 to 12 months beforehand is like, okay, and what if this, and what if this, and then like, and why am I doing this? Because for me, I also didn't want to do it, and I don't think it's wrong for women to do this. For me, I didn't want to do it out of a place of like, I just want to get on here just like to make money and that's it. And I say that because for me, it wouldn't be sustainable. For me, it was like, oh my God, I have like so much sexual energy and a high libido, and I really love being sexually expressive. OF could be like a playground. It could be like a fun playground for me to express myself sexually. And then obviously I can make some money off it too. That's amazing. But it was never like, oh, I have to make because if that's the case, then I'm burnt out and I don't even like it anymore. And so for me, it was like, no, the fun had to be the driving factor for me personally. Okay. The fun had to be the driving factor. And so it was kind of all moving through that too. Like, what do I want to stand for? What do I want to do on there? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? How am I going to show up? What am I expecting? Like everything you could think of, like I really wanted to allow myself time to flush that out, to sit with the feels, to process it all, to heal. And then I would know yes or no, like a full body fuck yes, or like, actually, this was really good that I walked through all this, but I don't think it's for me.
So OnlyFans, was that sort of your liberation of your sexuality? Did it like, because you don't work with any collaborators, you do it on your own. Yeah. So is that you kind of being like, you know what, I kind of like this, or I like how this feels, or I like what's going on here, or this, because you're setting up scenarios for yourself, but you have to use toys, props, or whatever to sit there and also do. So I'm sure there were probably some points to you going, well, I've been curious about this, but let me try this out. I'm coming out of this shell because, like I said, you said, I'm dressing sexier. I'm putting the heels on. I'm going dancing. Yeah. I'm enjoying myself. So is OF sort of like a way for you to just sit there and be able to live out the sexualized part of you?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge way to allow that expression to come out. That's what it really is for me. And I think for myself, I knew that there are lots of ways you can express yourself sexually. And for me, I found it very unfulfilling to just go have sex with random people or whatever, just to like feel that sense of like sexiness and connection or whatever. And so that really didn't do it for me. And with OF, you just made the point about like the different videos and you can do different things. And that's part of the fun is doing that and then like edging my comfort zone of like, oh, do I want to try this? Do I want to try? Like there are several things that I realized about myself just through OF. For instance, one of the first things I realized was that I have a money kink. And I'm like, what is this? And that is not something I ever would have thought about myself or known, because money is not like I'll do anything for money. I don't have that energy so much. So what happened was there's a way on OF, if you're not familiar with OF, like people can tip you, right? So they can buy your videos or different things like that, but they can also just tip you. And they're tipping you for, on live streams, for instance, they're just tipping you because you're there and they like, your presence and your enjoyment. And the first time I did that and people are tipping me, I literally was getting turned on. I'm like, why is this turning me on? This is so hot. And I'm not talking about $100, $200 tips. I'm talking about like $5. It's not even much. And
It adds up.
right, but it was like every time that I get tipped, I'm like, oh my God, I just got turned on. I got turned on. And so then I had to look it up. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, oh my God, I have a money key. I wouldn't have known that. So there have been different things like that that have come out of it that I'm like, whoa, this is fun. And I always say you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Right. And so I've always been a person who loves trying new things. And that if I find out I don't like them, cool. But now I know, right? How do you know until you try it? So I've really enjoyed the playground of OF with kind of sexual, again, I am a solo creator, so it's limited on the sexual experiences as far as like figuring out different things I like. But it really does allow me the ability to be kind of like out there and try new things and see. And people in the DMs will give you ideas.
Yes.
You know, they'll be like, hey, could you do this? Oh, what do you think about this? And some of them I know right off the bat. I'm like, I know for me, it's like my body is like, no, I don't. That doesn't turn me on. That doesn't bring me joy at all. So I'm not going to do it. While other creators would be like, well, that's dumb. That's not a good business move. Like, do any of the things because you can make the money. And that's okay for them if they want to do that. For me, that's not the drive, though. The drive is it has to remain my playground. It has to remain driven by joy. And if I lose that, then I lost the whole point of what I got into it in the first place. Okay. And so, yeah, the sexual expression part has just been, it really is really fun. Yeah.
So you said a while ago when I had talked to you that you had dabbled in the LS.
Yeah.
So was that part of another part of your transformation as far as, because like I said, you being a pastor, I'm pretty sure you weren't used to people seeing you naked. LS in the lifestyle, whether it's the swap or hot wifing or the cuckold situation, whatever, there's a certain amount of, I don't know, communication and freedom that goes along with that. Yeah. So did that help to open you up at all, or?
Yeah, absolutely. The lifestyle was not something I expected to get into, right? That was like brought upon. My ex had actually like signed us up for with a profile and told me afterward, which was so funny. But I'm very open-minded. I've always been open-minded. And as far as like you said, being naked in front of other people, I could only say in front of females because I was never naked in front of other men prior to that. Obviously in a monogamous marriage for 20 years,
yes.
Or 18 before we started in the lifestyle. But I was always like free in my body. I'd always be naked around my daughters their whole time growing up, and then like any friends of mine I'd hang out. I don't have a problem changing in front of people. So there was some liberation that I probably operated in that maybe some women don't. And I don't know because to me, it was normal. It's just like, who cares? We're all girls here. Like, let's just be naked. I think that helps to have already that foundation. Okay. So then we move into the lifestyle. And I think it was a little slightly awkward at first, but also I was also just like,
did you have any truly awkward moments at all, or?
No, not too many.
Okay.
Not too many. I had one time where this isn't really awkward, but it was like it's one of those oh shit moments where we were swapping with a couple and the guy's condom broke inside me when he came, and that's one of those like. Oh. But I know my cycle really well, and I was like, "There's no way I'm pregnant." So that was, I wouldn't say awkward so much because I was just like my ex at the time though he was like. Freaking out a little bit. But also, I always tell people, I'm like, this Woomba, I say Woomba because they shouldn't spell it with a B unless they want the B pronounced. This Woomba is closed for business. Like, if I ever did get pregnant, I would not continue the pregnancy.
Yes.
And I never have had to take that action, but like, that's like, I'm very careful about my cycle. I'm very careful about all that stuff. But no crazy awkward moments. It's funny, as soon as one time I had done it, like gotten naked in front of other people and like had that experience, I was like,
no big deal.
This is great.
Yeah, you're ready to go. Now, when you're setting up the stuff for your OF, do you have beforehand planned scenes or like scenarios that you like, I think we had talked about, you're saying the date thing or whatever, just dressing up or, I'm always like, because I know you like to bake as well. Maybe you baking and being like, oh, wow, let me get up in the kitchen and then slowly, saunter on over to the bedroom. I mean, do you have stuff like that already set up already or? Yeah,
before I do a video, I always have, it's either I'm doing one just for a PPV just to sell, or I'm doing a custom. If I'm doing a custom, typically the person's giving me the idea. They're like, this is what I want. This is the experience I want to like, have for the fantasy of what you're doing. But if I'm doing my own, it's just stuff I come up with based on scenarios I think would be fun and sexy and hot for myself. And usually it goes over pretty well. Some of the most common ones that are like hot hitters are the ones that would be very easy for a person to believe would happen. So, and oftentimes they either have had happen or they want to have happen. My most recent one that was very popular was like, I picked you up at a bar, basically. And I take you home with me. So again, we don't know each other. We just hook up at the bar, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come home with me and get it on? I think that was originally a custom someone had requested. And here's what's funny about that. He requested that custom because on a live stream that I did, I talk about any like sexy stories or any, even if it's not like sex, because I don't have a lot of sex with other people, even if that's not the case, what I talk about is just like when I go out to the clubs or the bars or wherever, and I'm like, okay. And I told everyone, I'm like, yeah, there was this guy, and I just wanted to kiss someone that night. I love kissing. And I went up to this guy, and I was like, because I'm very forward. Like, I'll just be forward if I see something I want, as long as I see they don't have a wedding ring on or anything, I'll just be forward to him. And I was like, hey, I saw you looking at me. Because this guy was looking at me several times. I was just about to leave with my friend, but I wanted to know before I left if you wanted a kiss. That's literally what I said to this. This is real life. This happened.
Yes.
So I shared this on my live stream. The guy ended up telling me, oh, no, I have a girlfriend. I was like, oh, no worries. Totally respect that.
Kudos to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we left, and then as we're walking out, this other guy who I had seen eyeing me was like, hey, bye. Like, he wasn't like weird or anything. He was just, and I was like, my friend's like, go get a kiss from him. Because she just knows how much I like kissing. So I was like, okay. So I went over and we ended up kissing. And then the guy was like, so do you want my number? I was like, no, I just wanted to kiss you. And I left. So I shared that story on my live stream. And that's when after that, the guy came with the custom and he's like, I want it to be like you took me home from the bar though. Like you took me home with you. And I was like, awesome. And so I think because it's very believable. It's very like normal life. I did another one that was Hotel Rendezvous, and it's You're My Fan on OF. And you meet me, which of course is banned. You cannot talk about meeting people on OF. Like you can't, that's not even allowed in the DMs, right? So, like we could, even if we've been talking for 5 months in the DMs and I want to get to know you, absolutely not. We cannot talk about meeting anyone in the DMs. So there's this like novelty of naughtiness, right? Like, so it starts where I'm in the hotel room, and I'm in a real hotel room in this particular video, and the person comes in, and I'm like, I told you we're not supposed to do this. But anyway, it ends up in like a very seductive, like slow, like just like take my dress off, the whole thing. And I love making this shit, and because it seems believable, I think that's why they eat it up. They love it. It's fun.
So what's been your weirdest custom request?
Oh my God. Whew. I have had so many interesting.
I'm sure you have some interesting ones.
Yeah, I would say the weirdest custom request was when a guy asked me if I could take my phone with me all day and record myself burping and farting. And I said to him, that doesn't turn me on or do anything for me. And also because again, I don't do it for the money. Like I do it for like, it has to bring me joy.
Yes.
And I said, plus, I don't even know when I'm going to burp or fart. Who knows when they're actually, like sometimes a little bit, you might have like a couple seconds.
Yes.
Moment.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but I really just want to do it. It's like, it's a kink for him, which is interesting. I don't knock anybody's, the phrase is like, I don't yuck anyone's yum. Do I understand it? No, not at all. And also, I'm not going to make fun of it or make someone feel bad for it, but I will tell them if it's not aligned for me. And he was like, oh, please, could you please do it for me though? And so I thought about it and I'm like, well, this isn't out of integrity for me in the sense that like, I feel like it violates me. It just doesn't turn me on at all. And it's not my kink. And I said, so I kind of gave him like, I call it kind of like a fuck you number. And it's not, that sounds really mean, but it's just a phrase to indicate, I don't actually want to do this, but almost everything has a price. Right?
Everything.
Right.
Everything
and so I was like,
price.
$2,000. And he turned it down. He's like, oh, well, other creators do it for so much cheaper. And I'm like, I respect that. I'm not other creators. And, I wish you well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, since I know that we've talked earlier, you said that you were, is it bisexual or bi-curious?
I'm bisexual.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm bisexual. I knew that from a young age. Yeah.
So, has any women slid in your DMs yet?
Yes, I actually
Oh,
have.
here we
I actually
go.
have a handful of women. I have one that comes to my live streams regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in Australia, so she actually like has to stay up like crazy. Like I think it's like 3 or 4 in the morning when she's.
There's like a day ahead or a day.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's
Yes.
like a freaking day. Yeah, it's insane. And she's so supportive and so sweet. She's just like, I'm obsessed with you. I love you so much. And then what's really interesting about women is the ones that, at least that I know are women who hop in my DMs, they will ask me if it's okay if they follow me. And I'm like, of course. Like, of course it's okay. I just think that's so interesting and so sweet, but also like it's interesting the perspective of women. Like they feel like they need to ask permission even though they're subscribing to your account. But they're all very sweet, and some of them have an account, a joint account with their boyfriend or partner or whomever, and they'll both kind of talk to me, and they're like, "Oh my God, we get off to
I was
your
about to say,
content."
have they approached you as a couple yet? And they're like,
Yeah,
hey,
like we get
both-
off to your
yes.
content together all the time. And I have had a few couples in my DMs ask to collab, you know, like, would you ever collab? Which I don't collab. I'd be open to collabing with a female. And I tell my subscribers this. But again, I'm not proactively looking for it, so that doesn't really get you anything very quickly. And then I'm also very particular about the energy of a person I'm going to collab with. Just like, again, anything in business, anything in relationships. I'm just very, and people can think I'm prude because of that, and that's okay. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I have high standards in every area, and I won't apologize for them. And so I've considered that. But that would be as far as I can see in the future, never say never. As far as I can see in the future, that would probably be the only collab that I'd be interested in pursuing.
Because you being in Ohio, I'm trying to figure out what would be I don't know. Because usually Midwestern women are taught, you go to high school, you go to college, you graduate, you get married, you have babies, and that's that. So I would think that you being because you look young, and you being a mom, that I think you said you're in your 40s, and trying to go out there in Ohio and trying to find a gentleman or, to spend time with, I would think that has to be a pretty tough task, a very daunting task to have to do that in Ohio.
Yeah, I don't.
Not that Ohio's a bad state or anything, but,
Yeah, I don't, and I think right now my life is pretty busy. So with work in general, and then my kids are like, a couple of my kids are in transition, moving out, different things, and then I love to travel, and so now I'm at the place where I can travel a lot more. So when I do have free time, a lot of times I just spend it like traveling with friends, and so I'm not proactively looking for, a guy to date. Not that I'm against it either, or even a female to date, but I feel like that's even harder as a bisexual woman. I'm like, I always joke, I'm like, is there like a handshake, like a bisexual handshake, so I know you're bisexual? I saw this meme one time. It was like, I don't know if she just likes my skincare or wants to fuck me. Like the whole bisexual, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like, are you into me? I don't know.
keep coming to Vegas. They'll be more forward with you.
Right,
They're very forward
which is
out
lovely,
here.
right?
Yes.
I'm that way, so I prefer that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
they don't hide behind the Bible out here.
Yeah, no, there is no Bible here. So I don't proactively like look for it. I'm open to it, but then also I'm not in a place where, I just got out of literally like, what's today? So not even a week ago, my divorce was final, right? We did almost 2 years of uncoupling, separation. So I haven't been out of a marriage for very long, was married for a very long time. And so I'm not interested in this like deep I'm looking for something deep and committed, and like I want to be back in some partnership. I also feel very much wired for non-monogamy, especially being a bisexual woman.
Yes.
So it creates this kind of conundrum when it comes to dating, the dating scene, because I will never lead someone on to think that, oh yeah, it'll just be me and you and I just want this committed thing. I'm very honest and open about what I am and am not looking for. And I don't think all that many people are looking for that per se, percentage-wise.
Yes.
Right? Percentage-wise, which is okay. I would never want someone to be out of integrity with themselves in order to appease me and try to become something I want. That's like, defies the whole purpose. So for me, it's kind of just like been this slow, like, okay. I'm trying to like very, very much live detached from it, even though I would love to have like a male partner and a female partner. I think that would be very
Oh, couple?
No, not together.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe
okay.
we get
Oh,
together
two different.
sometimes.
Two
But like,
different.
no,
Okay.
like separate. Like just, I really love one-on-one energy. I think that can be like explosive and really beautiful. I do like threesomes, I do. However, for me, that is more like the novelty. I wouldn't want that as the norm because I really do love like connection just between one-on-one. So I think I would love to have that where it is really like we're really good friends. We travel together, we go places, we do things, and we have like incredible sexual chemistry too. But I'm not in a hurry to try to find it. It's not like this like, I need this. And so even though, man, when I'm ovulating, I'd be feral as fuck and I should be chained to a tree because I'll make some bad decisions. But even, so it will seem like I want that because I'm like, it's bad. I talk about that on my live streams a lot. I'm like,
So do you cater your live streams to the point when you're ovulating?
no,
So you can sit there and get it all out your system?
I do them almost every week, actually.
Oh, really?
I try to do unless I'm traveling or different things and I'm just not available, I try to do weekly live streams. And so my live streams, I typically have, and this is something interesting about me, I typically have like 3 sexy live streams where it's just like fun, party energy, dancing, communicating, talking, and then a cum show at the end, of course, because why would I not do that? That's like, I say that because I have been told, I don't follow a bunch of creators, I've been told by people in my DMs, my fans, that other creators, and to each their own, will, if they don't hit a certain tip amount on the live stream, they won't go into sexy stuff at all. They're like, oh, you guys didn't tip me enough, like we're trying to
Didn't make a goal.
Right, which again, to each their own. That idea of doing that had never even crossed my mind, ever. Nor do I want to do it, but it had never even crossed my mind. And that's probably because for me, live streams are as much for me as they are for the watcher. Like,
yes.
I'm like, this is, again, playground energy, right? This is like fun for me. So why would I not come at the end of it? Hello, that's like a disservice to myself.
Yeah.
So the live streams, I do like 3 sexy. And then I just recently, a couple months ago, I started doing coaching live streams. And this is something really odd. I don't know anyone else who does this, but also I don't know very many other people who are coaches who are creators. I get on, no sexiness, I just get on, and anybody can join. If you're subscribed, you get to join. And I do life coaching. And it's pretty much all men, but like, it's, Kwame, it's so beautiful. It's wild how when you create a space for vulnerability, people are willing to be vulnerable. And they have shared heartbreaking things, asked questions about super vulnerable, whether it's sexual, relational, like just motivational, confidence, all of these things in this space. And then not only am I having the benefit and such a privilege to be able to coach them and support them, but in the comments, because that's all there, it's like a Facebook Live, so they're just commenting. They're supporting each other. They're encouraging each other. They're like thanking each other for sharing because they're like, oh man, I'm going through that too. Like, thanks for sharing. It's like this beautiful space that was cultivated and now they're all looking forward to it. They're like excited for when the next coaching live stream is. And it's such a deep sense of fulfillment for me because as I said, like if I could pick one thing, I think we said this earlier in our conversation, like I would coach, I would that impact, that feeling of impact for me is where it's at. So knowing that I get to be all of me in every space, like my coaching clients, for instance, I talk about sex if it makes sense, like, and they want, like, I'll talk about sex. There's no TMI with Bekah. We'll talk about all the things, and they know that. They know I'm in OnlyFans. They know, and then with the OnlyFans, like, they know I'm a coach, and the coaching live streams, but then also people in the DMs, the testimonials I have to how I've helped change their lives. It's humbling, honestly. It's humbling because I don't even feel like I'm doing all that much. But sometimes for people, they don't have anything. They don't have anyone. They don't have any support, any encouragement. So they didn't come into my OF for support and encouragement, right? They came in for one thing and they're getting so much more. And I just count it like such a privilege to be able to be a person who has the ability to do that for them.
Because doing OF, we talked about that earlier as well. It is a job. You do have to stay on it. It is something you have to do every day. The marketing, the branding, the niche, the getting out there, the answering your DMs, even though some people have agencies that do it. You do it on your own. Yeah. So are you very excited to sit there and teach other women or other creators how to sit there and monetize what they have as far as their brand goes when it comes to OF?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just finished a group program that's called Erotic Visibility, and it was an OF training program.
Wow.
And so it's anyone who's either starting in OF or they've been in OF but they're not seeing success. They don't really know how to scale. They're just struggling in general. And it's targeted, though, not just to people to start and grow it. It's targeted specifically to individuals who understand the energetics. It's not just like, here are the practical things you can do. Because you can do all those practical things and still not see results.
Yes.
Right? Because what I talked about, where I took 6 to 9 months beforehand to like unshame and deal with all that stuff. If you don't deal with that stuff, it will keep you stuck. You will self-sabotage. You will wonder why everything feels burnt out. And so for me, I knew that if I wanted to offer a program for coaching people to do this, I needed to not just give them the practical, I needed to give them the energetics of things. And then I take it a step further. Because mindset work, reframing the narratives, all of that can only get you so far. If your nervous system is not on board, you can mind fuck yourself all you want and you won't actually see results because your body doesn't feel safe in believing it, right? I can sit here and affirm I'm a millionaire 20,000 times. But if energetically, like in my body at a nervous system level, it feels unsafe to be a person who has $1 million, which sounds crazy when I say that out loud, like, the fuck would I be unsafe for? Lots of reasons. Maybe you grew up thinking that people with money are evil. Maybe you're afraid that if you get a bunch of money, you'll lose it immediately. So that's scary, right? There's all sorts of other things going on. So the program I did, it did strategy, practical. It also did energetics. And then we worked specifically on somatic nervous system work to help them really like solidify and cement healing and wholeness and unshaming parts of themselves, like all around the OF work. I had amazing, like rave reviews, testimonials from the people who went through the course the first time. So that was beautiful. And I'm so excited to continue to offer that because I think someone who's serious about the holistic approach of OF, not just like, I'm just going to do this to make money and that's it. I think they're gonna really get a lot from it. And it's just something that gets me excited to offer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like that you're doing this, you're branching this whole entrepreneurship. You have different revenue streams and avenues of you trying to get this money and everything that's going for you. Anything else you're going to have to go along with that?
Well, I have several things that I'm working on. Right now I'm working on another group program that is, again, it's going to be targeted more for women, but it's the idea of reclaiming your pleasure and power. And I think we're entering a time, well, we already have, but we're seeing a revolution of women step back into their power, step back into their pleasure, where they've been shamed for both of those things, where they've been told to tone it down for decades, centuries, whatever it is. And now we're like, what? No, like that's where home is. And being a fully expressed person, which doesn't mean they have to want OF or anything like that. Everybody's different. But it means tapping back into that source, that source of pleasure and that source of power. So I'm doing that and also really relaunching my speaking career. Okay. Even after preaching and getting out of that, I did several speaking gigs after that. But a lot of it was like self-leadership. It was personal development stuff, which was awesome. But now I feel like after all of this this movement into OF and this sexual expression, I feel like it doesn't have to all be around sexuality, but it really is an angle that I'm very passionate about and that I can see the benefits in my life. It's not just around sexuality that it's benefited me, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a holistic, like comprehensive, full body shift in how I show up and who I am and what I want out of my life and what I expect out of my life and how I am to other people. And everybody deserves that. And so when I get on stages again, for me, it's going to be, I'm a transformative speaker. I refuse to call myself even motivational because the reality is if all I give you is knowledge, I have not done a service for you. You've got more knowledge. Your ass could have gone on Google and got more knowledge. You could have watched some YouTube and got some more knowledge, right? What you crave is transformation. And so in order to do that, I'm going to show you, like, here's how I have transformed, and now I'm going to give you the tools and the exercises and the modalities in order to do that in your own life. My goal is not so people coach with me for the rest of their life. My goal is to teach you how to be your own coach so that you get to a place where you're so grounded. It doesn't mean you don't tap in to get coached here and there and stuff, but you know how to do it. You feel so good within yourself. You catch the feels and you're like, ooh, let me learn how to sit with that discomfort because we love to run away from the feelings of discomfort. And yet that presence with discomfort, that's healing. That's where the healing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at you. I'm liking all of this.
I go into preacher mode, right?
You learned all this in Ohio, huh?
Well, I've lived there for about 13 years. I was East Coast girl, grew up an East Coast girl. So,
Okay.
yeah, I can't claim Ohio. I don't want to claim Ohio. No offense, Ohioans. Actually, Ohioans would probably know why I don't want to claim Ohio, so I don't know. It's fine.
So why don't you give me one of your, besides kissing a gentleman, give me one of your other best Vegas moments.
Best Vegas moments. Oh my God. Best Vegas moments would be, it has to do with kissing again.
Okay.
I was at a club, this would have been 1.5 years ago, and it was a ladies group. So there was like 8 of us. And we went to a club, went dancing, and I'm dancing with this guy. I don't really know him that well. We knew him a little bit beforehand. It was another group of guys we had kind of met and we were just hanging out, talking to, dancing with. And I turn around and I start kissing him. And I love kissing. You need to understand this. I love kissing. So when it's bad, I do not put up with that shit. I correct it. This sounds bitchy, but do you want me to not enjoy my experience kissing you? Do you want me to walk away thinking, what a fucking shit show of a kisser? Or do you want me to help you kiss me in a way that now I'm going to walk away and be like, that was fire. Okay, good. So we all know the answer to that question. So I start kissing this guy, and he's like very just like tongue in, like firm. And I stopped him. And I was like, no, less tongue. So we try again. He didn't listen to a word I fucking said. So I stop him again. And I was like, let me kiss you. And he's like, okay. So we actually did. And I kissed him, and it was great. Like, we just had, like, it was really sensual and lovely. And then I turned to his friend, and I said, would you like a kissing lesson? And he was like, so I gave him a kiss. Same thing. Had to correct basically the same type of thing with him. Then I went to his other friend, and I was like, would you like a kissing lesson? And I did this with 5 different men at the club. Only one of them didn't need lessons. It was this like short little nerdy Australian guy. It was hilarious. Probably because he wasn't presumptive, you know. He was just like, and I stopped him at the end and I said, oh, you don't need a lesson. And he goes, oh, I don't? I was like, no, you're an excellent kisser. And he said, thank you, Cincinnati. I couldn't remember my name. Yeah, and then I went on to kiss like 6 different women, but they were all pretty good.
Okay. So. The coming out party.
Vegas!
All right, we got you. So for all these people that are now interested in you, why don't you tell them how they can get a hold of you? What do they have to sit there and do? Where do they go?
Yeah, so the easiest way to get a hold of me would be typically through, if you're on OF in the DMs, or Instagram at Bekah Slider. It's my name, spelled the exact same way. My Facebook is the same. I'm very open with like who I am, and I put it all out there. So that's probably it. You could also email me if you want to be like super professional. At hello@RebekahSlider.com. It's full name, Bekah Slider, because I get super professional there.
Okay. Is your stomach growling yet? You ready to go eat?
I'm getting hungry.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you.
Kwame,
Can't wait to do this again.
You are a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope it was a good one for
It's
you.
great.
All right. I'll talk to you.